Hey, welcome to the stream. It's your host, CyberDragon. And as usual, I'm here to teach a bit about Game Maker and talk about some logic stuff. So thanks for coming in today. And yeah, hope everyone's been well. Hey, chat, welcome. Zumzi, Kava, Night Rage, welcome. So we're going to continue the education from last week. We have new lessons today, so I'll go ahead and bring those out so you can see, and I'll link them for you as well. So let's bring this over. All right, so in today's lessons, we're going to teach about triggering logic and logic with messages, what they can do, how you can send them, including message arguments, because some people are still a bit confused about how message arguments work. If you're interested in reading this, I'll link it in chat. And there is a video here that goes for about 10 minutes, which goes through the basics of triggering logic. So this is lesson number 5 out of the 8 parts. Next, we also have craft quests. So basically how all the 4 different variations of quests work, how the indicators work, that sort of thing. I'll also link that in chat. Awesome. And don't forget to visit our forum as well. So we have a nice forum page where you can discuss things and ask for feedback or ask for bug features. Report bugs or ask for features. But here you can go to resources and tools, and you'll see we're up to 5 and 6. So you click on 5, and Becky has listed all the different lessons and things you need to know about triggering logic. And there's resources here which link to documentation. So if you click on the logic, you'll open up the education page, and you can go through and read about that here, which is quite cool. So if you do need to know a bit more, or you think you might need a little bit of a catch-up lesson if it's been a while, here is a good resource to get through all that. But I'll go through some examples today as well. And if you have any questions or want to know something, feel free to message me in chat and we'll go through it live on stream. Alrighty, so that's those documentations. So what we're going to do is basically, let's talk about messages, how they work, how you can use them, and we'll talk about message arguments as well and how they're useful. All right, so first off, I'm going to get rid of this grid down here. So when I select something, there's no massive grids, as you can see. If I want to snap to a grid, even though I can't see the grid, you just click this snap tool, and you can see here it's snapping, and we can put down our NPC, and we can rotate. Now, messages are important, obviously. They are the logic moving mechanism inside Game Maker. So you need to know how messages work in order to make logic happen. Messages can be whatever you want, as long as the message is the same, coming out to the next destination. So here we have a message broadcaster, for instance. Here you need to tick wait before message, and then we can add a message required. So message required means the message going in, and a message to send is a message going out. So if I duplicate this and I add a button, for instance. Well, there's no button anymore. Has that been removed? It may have been removed. This is the new update to Game Maker. It's 10.15. So if you haven't got the latest version, there we go. It's a component. So when we go to button, you'll see that message to send is whatever we have here. There is no message in because buttons only work with interactions from the avatar. So when the avatar presses E, that's the message going in, and then it will send a message out, and it will send a message out to whatever you want here. So you got everyone in range. So if we trigger something for something in range, it will display. So let me show a example of this. We'll bring out our numpad. And here we can put a speaker. All right, one thing I should mention is that there are two types of behaviors and components. There's MP, which is multiplayer, and then there's SP, which is single player. In a single player experience, it doesn't matter which ones you use, they're able to cross over. But in a multiplayer experience, multiplayer messages only talk to multiplayer. Messages sent from multiplayer stuff will only talk to other multiplayer stuff and the rule system. The single player behaviors and components will only talk to other single player behaviors and components. You can't cross them over, so bear that in mind. If you want to test multiplayer, you just click this little button in the top corner and this will simulate multiplayer. So you can check if the messages work for multiplayer experiences by ticking that. Now you can see this button here is sending a message inside of this area only. So if I have a message saying help, and it's going to send in a range. And for this speaker, we can now say message required, which is message going in. And we can send a message help. And we can have the text to display, which is help. We get rid of look on target because we don't want the asset looking. And basically, now when we press E on this NPC, you can see it's sent the message help. Now, if I move it outside of the bubble, you can see it's not in the bubble anymore. And I press E, you can see nothing happens because the message is not being sent outside of that bubble. You can change the message type from everyone in range to specific tags in range. So this one here, just say we have 2 of these and we have broadcast tag. So we're going to send a message to tags in this bubble, and we can have the tag help, and we can copy that tag. It is case sensitive, and we'll put it on one of these, or we can put it on both. So now when we press E, they both trigger help. But if we remove the tag and now press E, you can see it's only doing it to 1. So the message is only being sent to a specific tag in this bubble. So you can have a whole bunch of things using the same message, but it will only reach the one that's got the tag. We got message being sent to the rules. So that's to the rules directly and nothing else on the experience. You got self. So what self does is it sends the message to the asset itself, nothing outside of it. So if I have a button on this and a speaker, this is going to send a message help to here because it's on the same asset. So now when I go wait for message and I send a message help, it's going to say the message help. So let's test that out. And you can see now it's just saying it to itself and none of these assets have been sent that message. That's the power of sending the message to the self. And then you have team. So if you have different teams like team 1, team 2, they are created on the avatar portal. You can assign team and then have team 1 and then have tags if you want. But this message will send to team 1. I don't know if you can actually... maybe you can. Let's have a look. So we could have a visual effect, and this visual effect will be off at the start, we can have an arrow, and we'll turn it on with the message help. So now when we press E on the button, you can see it's turned the message on, which is the visual effects with the arrow on the avatar. And that's because it's sending a message specifically to team 1. So if you have multiple teams, so this one here might be team 2, and I spawn on team 2 and I press E, you can see no visual effect is turning on. But if I spawn on team 1 and I press E, you can see the visual effect is on me now. So you can direct the messages that way. And the last one, which is self-explanatory, it's all. So anything with the message help will be triggered. So I'll go ahead and put it back onto this avatar, and we'll wait for message. We'll put the message help. And when I press E, you can see it's sent it to everything, including me, because that's the power of sending it to all. Cool beans. So that's a little introduction to messages and the types of messages that can be broadcasted. So you'll select this based on whatever you need to do. There will be specific scenarios where you want specific broadcast types. Awesome. Next, we want to check out message arguments and also toggles. A toggle is an important one as well. So let's bring out a couple of doors. We'll do props, basics, and we'll just do door. That should bring up more options. Cool. And we'll go ahead and remove the button behavior component on it. And we'll put on the door behavior. Door behavior is only multiplayer. And that means we need to put a multiplayer toggle on. And we'll remove the toggle off one of them. And we'll send a message here, help. So help will open this door. And this one here will do the same as well, help. But with this one, we're going to have the toggle off. So that means when the game begins, this behavior will not work unless we have a message that turns it on. So we can say toggle.on, and we can have this guy toggle it on. So when we come up to this guy, we'll use interact. Interact means the player needs to press E on the actual NPC, and we'll send a message toggle on. Everyone in range, so it will reach that door. So if we go ahead and press E, this door opens, as you can see. And it closes straight away because I think it's sending the message elsewhere. We'll go ahead and delete all that. Let's try again. So now the door's open. But this one was toggled off. We have the behavior off. So if we go ahead and press E on this guy, now we've toggled on the door. So when we press E, you can see now this door opens. So that allows you to send messages to particular items, but not activate them unless you have another message that's turned them on first. And toggle is very useful for that sort of purpose. So just for instance, you might not want this door to be opened unless someone picks up a key. So if we put down a key, and that key will send a message toggle on. So we'll go ahead and we'll have a collectible. So a collectible component. So with the collectible, a player can either press E to pick it up, which is interact, or collision, which is to run into it and pick it up. Then we'll send a message toggle on when it's picked up. And you could do everyone in range, but in this case I like to do all, especially if you have things that are hidden across the map. So now when I pick up the key, it's toggled on the door. So when I speak to this guy, both doors open because we've toggled it on. Whereas if I don't pick up the key and I talk to this guy, it's only going to trigger the door that's not been toggled. Cool. All right. Next, we're going to show message arguments. So let's bring out something that changes the weather. So we can go ahead to our presets, no, our logic here. And you got some post-processing, or you got some weather asset, and we'll bring out the weather asset. And here we could do a fade. So weather fade. Which means it's slowly going to transition from one to the other. And then we can say nighttime or anything else, or you can go custom if you want. So if we click play, you can see it's nighttime. We stop, it's not. Now it requires the message weather fade. So, and you can see the message is yellow, which means we can send a variable with it, like some extra information with the message. So message required is the message going in. And a message going in is yellow, which means that there is a variable that can be attached to it or gets sent with it. So let me show an example of that. So the message here we want to send is weather fade. And you can see it comes with a time variable, and that's how many seconds it will take to fade from day to night. So if we go 10 seconds, and then we speak to this guy and press E, and then we wait, you can see that the weather is slowly changing. It takes 10 seconds to transition because the message we sent has the value 10, which gets translated into time. And if we want it to happen faster, we can just make this 2 seconds. And you can see it turns dark really quickly. Or if you want something that actually takes time, you could like longer time, 30 seconds. And then when you press E, it's going to take 30 seconds to transition from daytime to nighttime. But you can see it slowly happen. You should see the moon slowly rise. Yes, that big bright white thing is the moon. And you can see it's going to take 30 seconds to transition. It's because we're sending extra data with the message, and that message argument can be created to send any type of data, including text. Usually it goes to the rule system, but we do have a few things like weather fade and post-processing fade, which accept data as well. So another way we can example this is we'll come out to the rule system, we'll click variables, and we're going to add a number. That number will be global so everyone can see it, and we'll just call it score. I have showed this in the previous streams. Now we're going to go to rules and do math, and that math can be score. But we're going to create a message with an argument, which means now we can select some stuff that will add information when a message is sent. So if we click add, click number, we'll give it a message, a name for this field called score. And now you can see our message is yellow. So now if we send the message here, score, you can see we've got the variable score, and we can put a value of 10. And now each time we send that message score, if it's reading for a variable, it will send a message 10 with it as well. So if we go back to the rules, and we're going to do some math, when a message score is received, we're going to use the message argument value of score. In this case, score is the value of 10. If I change that to 100 or 1000 or 23, whatever the case may be, it's going to put that in here. And then we're going to add or subtract or multiply or whatever math you want to do. And then we want to add it to the variable score, and then it's going to equal score. So basically we're going whatever the message argument is plus whatever the value of score is equals score. And we want to be able to see that on the screen. So we're going to go here to on player join, and we're going to click HUD. So we're going to send a message when a player joins. The message is HUD, and we're going to send it to the HUD so it displays it. And we can go ahead and click any spot we want the value to be displayed. And we click the edit button here and select our score. And we can put the name score or whatever we want here. I think we can do all caps. And you can select an icon for it as well. And that's up to you. And you can make the variable bigger or smaller. So now when we press E, you'll see our score is up the top. And when we press E, you can see we're added 10. If we keep pressing E, you can see we're adding 10 each time. Now, if we go ahead and change this message to say 25, and we test this out now, you can see we are now adding 25. So we're just using message arguments to attach a value. So when it gets sent, we can use that value for different things such as math. And that is message arguments. Next I want to show is the quests. So if you go to objectives, and we can turn on the objectives here, we can go ahead and add a quest. We can say quest 1. And we can have a description, quest 1, collect stuff. Now, you can have message unlock straight away or requires a message. Let's say if it's auto unlock, next we've got 2, which is message, to launch the quest, and we can say message here. So we can have the message start quest 1. So now this quest won't begin to collect stuff unless we send a message start quest 1. So if we go over to our guy over here, we can duplicate him with Control D, and we can put the message here, start quest 1. But this one here is a button, and it requires either, it requires all in order to send it to the rules. So if we go ahead and press tab, and nothing's happening, but when we press E, nothing's happening. Did I have the right message? Start quest 1, broadcast type all, objective, unlock quest is unlock, message required, start quest 1. I'll try again. Okay, that doesn't work, but the score does. So maybe here the button doesn't work. So let's try the message broadcaster, and we're going to send that to all. And now let's see if this begins our quest. Yeah, it does not. So when we press E, we start quest 1. It might be a bug. I don't know. Let me just double check. So to launch, if we just go auto launch, let's see if it just begins. It does. So the quest begins straight away. But if we have a requires message, and that message is start quest 1, okay, maybe because it's a multiplayer broadcaster and we are testing in a multiplayer simulator. So this is exactly how it will work if it was a multiplayer game. The multiplayer stuff, like behaviors and components, does not interact with the objectives in this version of Game Maker. It will be changed in the future, but now it needs to be single player. So if we change this multiplayer message broadcaster to a single player message broadcaster and press E, now you can see that our quest begins. So we need to use single player behaviors and components to talk to the quest system, because the quest system only activates locally for the player, not for everybody else. Now, you probably want a marker or something to let the player know that there is a quest to be picked up here. So what we need to do here is add an indicator component. We're going to add indicators on top of the NPC so the player knows to go and speak to them, to talk to them for a quest. So you can see quest giver. We'll go ahead and select quest 1. And if we edit the logic, this is the distance you can view that marker. So the further away you are, you'll most likely not see it anymore. And a vertical offset is the how far above the player or the NPC that the marker will be sitting on. So you can see that the marker is quite high above the NPC. We can bring that down by changing the 1 to a 0. And you can see now the marker is directly above its head. Now, that marker means that there's a quest, and when you press E, you get the quest and the marker disappears. So let's go back to the objectives. So this part here where it says unlock quest. So if we go ahead and click requires message, and we'll just say unlock quest 1. What this means is you can't see the marker above this NPC's head, and when you press E, nothing happens because the quest is not unlocked. Maybe you need to collect something or complete something else before this quest is available. So what we did here is we added a lock message, which is unlock quest 1. And you can send that message in different ways. So maybe you want to collect a key again. And we will do a collection. And I believe it needs to be a single player, but let's test it out anyway. So we'll go ahead and unlock quest 1 to all. And I'm going to duplicate this one. And we'll make this one a single player collectible. And that is unlock quest 1 as well. All right, cool. So now we can't trigger our quest. It's locked. But if we pick up this key, it's still locked because it's a multiplayer. It does not talk to the objectives. But if we pick up this one, you can see now the quest is unlocked. And we can go ahead and obtain that quest. So that is the reason why we have the unlock area and then a launch. So that is 1 and 2. 3 is where we pick our quest type. So we got counter, asset def, timer, and wait for message. So counter is collecting objects or killing stuff. So if we're going to collect objects, we're going to look for tags that have been collected. So we'll just say key 1. And this is the amount we need to collect. So we got 5 here. So if we go ahead and put the tag on, let's say, I don't know if a multiplayer will work, but let's just check it out. So we pick up the key. We've got the quest. It's a counter quest. You'll see on the right, we need to collect stuff. If we pick up this key, you can see even though we picked up a multiplayer object, it's only looking for a tag, and that tag is being collected, and it counts as 1. So we don't need to make this a single player collectible. So we can go ahead and duplicate this 5 times. And for this one as well, we can add an indicator. So if we go ahead and put an indicator on here, and then we have quest objective, and we're going to select our quest 1. You'll see now that there's no markers on the keys, but when we start our quest, you can see now that there's markers on the keys to let the player know that there's a quest over there or a quest objective, and the further away you are, it disappears. So now players know that these are objective keys, and again you can change the position of that marker by changing that, and the position, and the distance. You can see the marker as well. So now when we start our quest, there's markers over here. And then when we pick them up, you can see our quest is done. And our quest auto completes. So that's a typical way of handling quests. When the items are picked up, it just auto completes. But what we could do, go back to our objectives. This is for type 3. Next, we want to go to type 4. Quest completion is auto-complete. So when we pick up the 5 keys, it's just going to auto-complete. But what we could do here is wait for input, where player needs to press E. So if we go ahead and check that out. You can see that our quest is complete, and it says on the right hand side, press enter to validate. So if I press enter on a keyboard, now my quest is complete. So it gives the player to see that it is being completed and requires an action from the player to say complete the quest. We got that is wait for input, and then we got requires message, which is the other one, and that is complete quest 1. So now it needs a message to complete quest 1, and we need something to send that message. So if we go here to our quest receiver and do quest 1, it just means that now when we begin the quest, the marker is above its head to retrieve the quest. We can go ahead and pick up our keys. Our quest is complete, but now it needs a message to move on. And you can see we got the question mark above the head to let the player know that this is where to hand in the quest. But when we press E, nothing's going to happen because we don't have anything that sends out the message complete quest 1. So we'll set that up as well. And the way we can do that is with toggles. So if you want to interact and do start quest 1, each time we interact with this NPC, it's going to send a message start quest 1. But we don't want that. We want to send something else out. So what we can do here is we can do a speaker, which is another form of interaction. And the way we want to do it is wait for message. And that message is interact, meaning if we press E, that's going to send a message. And then we could say NPC 1. So when we press E on this NPC, it's going to send a message NPC 1. Now we can use this message broadcaster to say NPC 1. And it's going to send a message start quest 1. Which is fine, but we're going to get rid of this. So it's just going to have the indicator, and it's going to send a message NPC 1 to all. And now we're going to put down a logic asset next to it. We're going to make it invisible and no collisions. And here we're going to use a message broadcaster and a toggle. And we're going to have this off. Actually, we'll have this one on, and we'll use the message NPC 1. We probably want to have dialogue, so we're going to change the message broadcaster to asker. And this one's going to have NPC 1. And then NPC 1 will say, do a quest for me, please. And then you say, okay, because you're a good citizen. And that will be quest, will be start quest 1. When start quest 1 is sent, we want to toggle this one off. So that way, when we talk to the NPC, it's not going to bring up this dialogue anymore. It's going to toggle this one off. Then we want to toggle something on when all 5 of these are collected. So we're able to hand in that quest. So if we duplicate with Control D, we'll have this one toggled off. And we want to toggle it on. And we want to complete the quest, complete quest 1. Thank you for completing the quest. And okay is just fine. And we just need a message now to toggle it on. And to toggle it on, we want to toggle it on when all 5 keys are picked up. So if we go to the rules, to the objectives, we've got nothing here to count for 5 keys to say, oh, you've collected 5 keys, send a message to toggle something on. So you need to manually do this in the rules, or another particular method as well will work. But the rules is quite easy, so we'll go ahead and set that up. So now we have the message, when collectible, unlock quest 1, we'll just say key, and it will send to all. So when we pick this up, it's going to send a message key. We're going to go to our rules, and we're going to duplicate our math rule, and we're going to send a message key. And what we're going to do is have a fixed value, which is 1 plus, and then we're going to have a key counter variable. So we're going to go ahead and select keys, and we're going to add 1 to keys and equals keys. So when we pick up a key, it's going to send a message key to the math rule. It's going to add 1 to the key variable. And then once it's added the 1 to the key variable, we're going to compare. So we're going to send a message after a key is collected is key count check. And we're going to send a rule from here to here. And we're going to check if our key variable is equals to 5. And if it is, we're going to unlock end quest 1. So when our key variable equals 5, we're going to send a message unlock end quest 1, which is coming over here. Again, this is a single player, so this is not going to work. So what you need to do here is, yeah, maybe this one might not work, but let's check it out anyway. So unlock end quest 1, we'll toggle it on, and we'll see if this works. But I think I'm missing something here. So we'll pick up the key, press E. Do I want to do a quest? Okay. Quest 1, the markers are on. We'll collect our keys. And now the question mark is on. If we press E, nothing happens because the toggle from the rule system did not work. Because the rules does not talk to single player stuff. And since we are starting the quest with a single player, there's no real way to change this one without more workarounds, I believe. So what we could do here is a volume trigger. And a volume trigger here is a detection inside a bubble. We'll make that bubble quite small, so it's going to detect everything in this bubble. And what we're going to do here is when a specific tag in this bubble, and that tag could be just tag for this example, when it leaves, we're going to send a message unlock end quest 1. And we're going to send it to the self, because we're only sending it here to unlock this NPC dialogue. So when the tag, when a specific tag in this bubble exits this bubble, it will send a message to the self to unlock. And the way we're going to do that is this quest tag, we're going to put it here on this additional numpad. And this one here is going to be a health component or a plant. We'll do plant in this case. It's cleaner. And from the rule system, when we send a message unlock end quest 1, we'll kill it. And when it dies, it will detect that that tag is now gone and then unlock this asker. So if we go ahead, we'll keep that on so you can see it disappear. So we'll pick it up, we'll start our quest. We'll pick up our 5 keys. And it didn't kill it. So let's see if I'm missing something. So we got on collect is key with all capitals, but when we sent it to the rules, it's all lowercase. So make sure that the case sensitive is checked, because you can see that it makes a big difference. So if we pick up this and press E, pick up our 5 keys, you can see now our plant has disappeared, which should toggle on our NPC dialogue and says thank you for completing the quest. We click OK, and now our quest is complete. Question mark has disappeared. So we've got the whole full cycle there of showing indicators, collected stuff, and having dialogue before and after the quest. Now that was an example of collected objects. We do have def, and again, you can have tag key 1 and have 5 or 1 or whatever the case may be. So we can say def as a tag, and it's going to look for a def of something, and when it does, it will allow you to move on. And basically you can have something with a health component, so you're able to kill it and then have that on there, and have that with 1 health, just for this example. So when we start our quest, you can see it's now it's 1 and it's killed it. And now we can't talk to the NPC because we relied on a rule system to collect keys to unlock this. But what we can do here is the message here, unlock end quest 1, that can be sent by the health. So unlock end quest 1. So when this thing dies, it will send a message to kill that and then unlock the end dialogue as well. So if we go ahead and just check that out, we can go ahead and kill this thing. You can see this numpad die. There it goes. And that will unlock the dialogue for me to complete the quest. So that is for counters. Then we have asset def. Asset def is something that it's going to look for. You can do a particular asset here. If you want to... Oh. Looks like you need to have something there for it to work. You can just say here, def. So this is the asset we want to look for. And now when we go to our counter to asset def, we can select our particular one. And now when we start our quest, it's another way of doing what we just did. But it says, boom. So that works as well. It's just another way to do the same thing, but without the counter. It's just a text timer. So 30 seconds, you need to survive 30 seconds to complete the quest, or you need to defend a particular asset for 30 seconds to complete the quest, or you might need a message. So if you have a race and you need to get somewhere in particular in a short amount of time, you need that message, and that message is just made it. So, and then we can have a particular area where a player needs to get to. And what we can do here is put an asset, and this one here can be a volume trigger. And when we enter, we send the message made it, and we're going to send that to all. And we want to change the detection just to be in this area. like so. So now when we start this quest, there'll be a 30-second timer. As you can see, it counts down. If you don't make it by the end of the timer, it will fail. If you make it to the end destination, it will complete. It's paused it because it requires an action to complete. Again, you'll need to have something that kills this off. But here it needs the message made it. So you don't need to kill this one off because it doesn't require any multiplayer interaction. You just change the on message to made it. So now this will toggle on. And now when I walk over, it's now stopped. And now I can press E, finish the quest, and done. And there's one more. Here is wait for message. Again, it's just going to wait for a message before it triggers. So you might want to get to a destination that doesn't require a timed event. So it's the exact same setup, except one without a timer and one where a player can take their time. Okay, hope that was useful. So that's going through all the different quests, the indicators, the types of messages, in order to get, you know, basic functions for the game to work. Just going to head on to the chat, see what's being said. If you have any questions or want to know something in particular, let me know. All right, so ADJ... Oh, AJ says, I'm creating a game for Halloween Game Jam. How can we delete game object? Hey, play game for fun. How are you? Last year, Trier says to delete a prop, just select it and press cancel. Or I'll just say delete. To delete block, you use the right mouse button on it. Okay. It depends if they're talking about deleting a game object inside of a game or inside of the editor. So there's two different ways there. Hey, Team Segba, Sebgut. That's not what I mean. For example, I need to delete when I play the game using message. Okay, so there we go. Oh, I can go through that. You need a plant component on the asset you want, delete after sending message. Okay, yep, so that's basically what I showed here. When you want to delete this asset, you use a plant behavior. If it's a multiplayer game, make sure it's multiplayer to multiplayer. If it's a single player game, it doesn't really matter. If you want to delete blocks, for instance, you could use a void behavior. So we have void, and void will delete, you know, particular blocks, only destroy from list. We can go grass and go ahead and delete that, and then say don't destroy any assets. So if I put that underground and I start the game, you can see it's deleted the block. And if you want, you can delete assets as well this way. So you can change your range so it's bigger. And when a game begins or when a message is sent, a message received, you could delete delete all. Hopefully it doesn't delete the avatar. It kills me though. Okay, so it kills me because it's asking for everything. And once it's toggled on, it's on all the time. So if you want to stop it, you just need to delete that asset. Because I don't think there's a toggle off. Unless this toggle works, this might be a way to do it. So toggle off We could use, I don't know, this guy over here. He sends the message score. So we could use that to toggle off score. So if I walk over to it, I still die. But when I go and press E on this guy, you can see the toggle does not work here. So you just need to delete the message, because the score is sent to all, and the toggle off is score, so it doesn't quite work in this case. So you need to use a plant behavior to kill it off. And now if I type that as the message, it should work. Oh, you can see my NPC's gone. It's completely deleted it from the editor. But when I press E, you can see it's now gone, and so is the block destroyer. But this is quite a bug. So maybe I have assets here, and now that it's deleted from the editor, it kind of ruins the game. So you probably want to be careful using this, because yeah, now my guy is gone. Rest in peace. And you have to re-add it, which is not good. So I'll need to report that bug, because that's not ideal. What about I am using logic assets for music, and next level I need to use new music. Okay, I can definitely do that one. After this save is complete, I'll show you how to do some music changing. So we're going to use volume triggers for this one, and I'll use multiplayer version of it. And here we can do music 1. And when you exit this area, we can say music 1 off. And then if we walk over here, we can duplicate this with Control D. And this one here will be music 2. And this one will be music 2 off. And it's going to detect the avatar and send that message to all. And what you could do here is have a, is it sound component? Play sound. So you just select something to be played. We'll just say casino. Doesn't really matter. And here you want to play on message received. The message received is music 1. And we want to make it interruptible, so make sure it's set to true. And message to stop is music 1 off. And you do the same thing over here. We add the sound component, and we'll pick a different sound, ambient city, and we'll wait for message. And this one here will be music 2, and we want it to be interruptible, and we'll have music 2 off. And that's pretty much it. So now when we walk into the first square, it's a bit bugged. Give me a second. Okay, if we walk into the first square, you can hear music. I don't know if you can hear that through stream. Oh, there we go. It's caught up. And then we walk out, it turns it off. Walk into this one. Got different ambient music. The important thing to recognize here is that you need to turn off the previous one. So make sure the interruptible is on, and you got a message to turn it off. And that will be how you switch from music from A to B, or moving from area to area. It's going to use this volume triggers detection in order to see if you're in a particular area, and turn it off when you leave that particular area. Hope that's been useful. Do you have any other questions or need to know something in particular? Let me know. Somebody says, back to quest. What if you want to delete the quest giver and put him in a new spot after you finish quest? Okay. That's easy done too. So it depends on where, how you want to visually show this as well. You can complete the quest and have him delete straight away and be somewhere else. Or you can have it so when you leave a room, it deletes him and then brings him somewhere else. But the gist of this would be using this message here, which is complete quest 1. And then what we're doing here is using a plant. And we're going to do complete quest 1. And this will delete him once you've finished the quest. And what you can do is you can have another quest. So if you have quest 2, what you do here is duplicate. You give him quest 2. So you'll need to go ahead and create another quest. Call it quest 2. Have it unlocked and auto launch, but requires message. And then will be start quest 2. And then you have collected objects, that sort of thing. But yeah, this is just to show that there's a second quest. And here we're going to select, bear with me, unlock, message required, quest 2, collected objects. We'll just call it QQ. We're going to collect 5 objects, no issues. Now when we select him, we should have quest 2 and quest 2. And you probably want to remove this and make it complete quest 2 to delete him if you want to delete him again. And what you're doing here is you're going to create a preset. And this preset here will be NPC quest 2. And now when we delete him, maybe we could bring him over here. And for this one, we're going to use an asset spawner. And the asset spawner will bring out the asset when we complete quest 1. So when we delete this guy, we're also spawning another one over here. We're going to use the preset that we just created. And that's it. I don't know if I have something that completes this quest. So let me go back to quest 1 and we'll make it so it's a counter. And we're going to collect the key ones. I think this is all key 1, right? Key 1, yep. Cool. So we're going to start this quest. We're going to collect our 5 keys. We're going to hand in our quest. And once it's completed, you can see he's deleted. And now there's another one over here with the new quest. You need to set it up so that there's new dialogue chains. But yeah, you basically duplicate this, change the message from the speaker here. The speaker is interact and then sends to NPC 1. You just change that to NPC 2. And then these askers will be NPC 2, NPC 2, start quest 2. And the toggles will all need to be activated. But that's basically how you do it. So you save it as a preset with all the predefined settings, bring it out in an asset spawner. When quest 1 is completed, it deletes this one and spawns this one at the same time. So you can have the same quest giver disappear as you complete quests. So yeah, presets is very important. I use this a lot for a lot of things. Basically, any settings you put on an NPC or a particular asset, you might want to save them and bring them out at a particular time. That's where you create a preset. and then you can use this to change different music, bring out different weathers, have quest givers go from A to B, all sorts of things. Have a volume that detects the player, toggle things on with detection. But yeah, presets is very important, and I would recommend learning how to use them effectively to get end results that are desirable. Okay, any other questions before I end the stream? Anything you might need to know for your game jam entries, something you're trying to do in particular? I'm more than happy to help with any logic and show you how things are done. If there's something you think of later, you can send me a message on Discord. There's no problems. I'm happy to help there as well. Make sure you do check out the documentation. The links are in the chat. I'll bring it back out again. So check out our documentation on these lessons. There are video tutorials and things to check out when it comes to the quests. So check out the video. There's a lot of references and things you can do here to improve your game. It might include better dialogue, or see dialogue strings and quizzes. So you can click on that and it'll teach you about adding text and dialogue strings and how to chain things, how to do quizzes. I do recommend using AI to make your dialogue better, or check for spelling mistakes, especially if English is not your main language. Hell, English is my main language and I still use it. So it's a good idea to get AI to make things make more sense and ask it to make it shorter instead of longer, so you can get the same message across to the players without dragging too many words across the screen. People don't like to read when they don't have to, so use AI to your advantage in that sort of thing. Here's a about conversation chains. So there's a tutorial I did quite a long time ago. You can see it's version 6. And yeah, do check out the lessons, because there's plenty of resources here to help you improve your game design. But that's all for today, guys. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a lovely day, and take care. Bye-bye.